Hello, my name is Putkonen. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm talking about the right view of non-duality. Now I'm taking right view from the first of the Noble Eightfold Path in Buddhism. I believe it was Suzuki that said all of Buddhism fundamentally comes down to right view. And actually all of Advaita Vedanta, non-duality, comes down to right view. The issue is that we have the wrong view. That is why we don't see what is as it is. That is why we suffer. And I want to delve into this a little bit. But let's get into the origins of the phrase a little bit more, because in Pali, the phrase is Samma ditthi. And Samma often is translated as right in English, but to get a bit more of a full flavor of what's going after in this word, know that it also means thorough. And Samma has the same roots as sum in English, in that, so Samma is also complete or total. Now, ditthi is often translated as view, but it's fundamentally our worldview, our current understanding of the world. And so ditthi is view or understanding. And so Samma ditthi, which is usually translated in English as right view, actually also means thorough view or total and complete understanding. And so what is this thorough view or complete or total understanding that we're supposed to have? And particularly, it is about who and what we really are. To have a thorough view, a complete and total understanding of who and what you really are. But the way to get this right view is not to seek the right view. The way to get the right view is to first remove the wrong view. And that is why in non-duality, there's a lot of, there's several teachers that will say, it is that the false must be seen as false. That is the crux. That the wrong view is rooted out and seen as false. The false is seen as false. And so in non-duality, being it comes down to right view, having this right view, you have to understand the implication that currently we have the wrong view. We have an incomplete view. And this makes total sense, really, because if you see a mirage and you have the wrong view, you'll see water and take it to be water, because you're wrongly viewing what's going on. But if you see a mirage and understand it's a mirage upon seeing it, and you know it's not water, then there's no misunderstanding and no suffering or craving arising due to the water that doesn't exist and such. And so having a thorough view, a total complete understanding, dispels the illusion of mirage, and you recognize a mirage for what it's always been, instead of taking it for what it's not, which is water. Or like the Pando in Utah, which I've mentioned. This is it's acres, of trees. And somebody will look at it and see, oh, look at all these individual trees. And that's because of an incomplete view, a wrong understanding. Because you're just taking what you see and you're extrapolating assumptions which are incorrect, which is these are individual trees. But science has actually delved into and investigated the Pando, and they've gotten a complete and total understanding and what's going on. And it's a clonal colony. It's like a trunk laying down under the ground with just branches sticking up. Basically it's a single root structure with branches. And so it is one organism. And as such, it lists as one of the largest organisms on the planet. But only having the complete and total view dispels the incorrect view. But the only way to get the correct view is to first doubt the current view and realize it is an incorrect view. Because if you don't doubt the current view and take it to be the correct view, if it's not correct, then you're just stuck with an incorrect view. I also like talking about the Mobius strip, because if I was holding a Mobius strip and there was a twist, that's what makes a Mobius strip, is the one twist in the loop. So it's one surface. But if I was holding the twist in my hand and all you saw was the flat ribbon, so it looked like there was two surfaces, and there was, two surfaces, and so there's an inside and outside. You would incorrectly assume, because of incomplete view, incorrect understanding due to an incomplete view, that this is a loop with an inside and outside. But if you knew what was in the hand, if you knew what was unknown, which is the twist, then you would know that it is one continuous surface. And as there is one surface only, it is impossible to have an inside or outside. It's one side. There's one side, that's it. And so there isn't opposing sides. And so a Mobius strip has no inside or outside. And that's from having a complete and total understanding, a thorough view, seeing in its entirety. And so that is that is really the fundamental principle. That's what Buddhism, Advaita Vedanta, non-duality, all of this boils down to, is right view, a thorough view, a complete and total understanding. And the issue arises is if we think we know when we really don't know. And for so many seekers trying to figure out enlightenment and get awakening, they currently believe they know who they are. Well, I am such and such, and I do this, and they've got this story. Oh, I know. Of course, I know who I am. And because they know who they are, or at least they think they know who they are, they don't bother looking at it. They don't bother investigating who they are. Well, why investigate when I already know who I am? Or if somebody believes I'm the body, I already know I'm the body. Why do I have to even look at it? I know I'm the body. Well, in that scenario, it is that incomplete view, the lack of understanding and ignorance, that is causing the incomplete view. And the only way to get the complete view is to first recognize currently it's an incomplete view. Currently it's the wrong view. And so you cannot hold on to whatever you're believing is this is the truth, because it isn't. And the truth may be, oh, I'm the body, or I know who I am. These truths you can't hold on to because they're not the truth. You don't realize they're not the truth because you haven't bothered looking. And so it comes down to looking with the assumption, I have an incomplete view. I mean, if you're not enlightened, you're not awake, and you're chronically suffering in life, the very fact you're chronically suffering in life is proof that awakening and enlightenment hasn't happened. So then you have to accept, I have an incomplete view. I am missing something. I've got the wrong view. There is ignorance I haven't seen thoroughly, so that I do not have a complete and total view, a complete and total understanding. But I don't know. I just wanted to kind of highlight the fact that it all comes down to right view, or a total, complete understanding. Because when I had read or studied Buddhism back in the day, that one's always stuck with me. That it comes down to right view. And what's really interesting is if you look at the rest of the Noble Eightfold Path, much of it comes with the first. Because if you have the right view, the right action would arise. Because if you had a total, complete understanding, and all action and reaction arise from current understanding. So if your current understanding was a total, complete understanding, your action, which arises from that, would also be right, would also be, the correct action. And it stretches through. So you got action and effort and livelihood and speech, and it is all impacted by the first. If the right view is there, the rest would arise naturally. So fundamentally, it all comes down to right view. And so that's something to think about, something to focus on. How is my view, my current view, distorted? If there is chronic suffering, if I'm still, seeking enlightenment or awakening, if I still don't know who and what I am, what is the ignorance or distorted view? What am I missing to have a complete and total understanding, a thorough view? What am I missing? Now, the natural question is to ask, what am I missing? But the place to start is, what view is incorrect in the first place? What is the view that I'm taking to be the correct view when it's actually the wrong view? And again, that could be, I'm the body. Well, that's an incorrect view. Or, I know who I am. I'm such and such, and I'm a man or woman that does this, that, or the other thing, and is husband, wife, whatever. The whole life story. It's like, that's not who and what you are. That is incorrect view. And so, even though the question might be, the natural question might be, what am I missing? And so you're trying to find the right view. Resist that temptation and instead delve into your current view and try to figure out what is the incorrect view. Where's the distortion? Where is the incorrect views that that I need to see as false? What false do I need to see as false before I'm able to see the truth that's behind it, or hidden behind the falsehood? Anyways, that's all I wanted to talk about on this episode. If you got any questions, comments, please post below. But until next time, thank you much.